Okay, go on to PR2. This is going to be basic calculations. All right, the very first thing you need to be familiar with, let me see if this will write. Right here, you have a formula bar. And that's what you use for calculations. And you can write in the formula bar, or you can write in the cell and it'll open the formula bar. Okay? So a formula means that you want Excel to do some math for you. Now, anytime you want to write a formula, you have to tell Excel first, and you do that by hitting the equal sign. That's your message to Excel. I want you to do a formula. You always start with the equal sign instead of ending. Okay? So let's just do a really easy problem so that we can see what numbers we're looking at. Let's just do 3 plus 2. So equals 3, find your plus sign, 2, and then hit enter. Okay? Pretty basic. Let's do, let's subtract. Let's just do a really easy one so we know what the answers are. Let's just do 7 minus 3. Now, look at what happens here. I just did 7 minus 3. And look what it says. It turned it to a date, and it said the 3rd of July. Anyone know what I did wrong just there? Or what I could do about this?
What's that?
You didn't put the equal sign?
I didn't put the equal sign.
Okay.
And so Excel thought I was writing a date. Now, let's put the equal sign and do the same thing. Equals 7 minus 3. Now look what happened. It still thought I was doing a date. I don't know why it thought I was doing the 4th of January. I have a mess here, right?
Change the format, right?
Well, Excel changed the format. I didn't do a thing, but Excel thought for me. So there's a couple things you can do. If you haven't done much work yet, sometimes I'll just click on the whole row. Let me show you how I did that. I hovered over here to where I see the side column and I clicked. And I'll just right click and just get rid of this messed up row. But if you already have data, you might need to go and reformat your cell. I'm gonna format it now with something in it, and I'm gonna format the cell and change it back to a number, tell Excel this wasn't a date. And it doesn't, and now it gives me the answer to my problem. Okay, so 2 ways of solving that problem, and every one of you is going to forget the equal sign sometime, and that's going to happen. Now let's do 4 times 3. How do you think we should do that? You know, when we're writing by hand, we can do multiplication in a few different ways. We can do, I'm going to get a pen here. We can do 4 times 3, right? We can do 4 and then in parentheses 3. All this is multiplication, right? Mm-hmm. We can do, what else? 4, we can use that little dot. 4 times 3. What do you think we should do in Excel? Let's try a couple of them. Let's try an X and see what happens. Don't forget your equal sign. Uh-oh. It looks like Excel is offering me a correction. It's telling me if I want to do 4 times 3, I should use that little asterisk instead of the X. So let's, I'm not going to accept this. I'm going to do it by hand. What I'm going to do is just type it in so that I'm familiar with my keyboard. It's the uppercase of the 8, no, and there it is. There, it did it correctly.
So you keep your equals in there, correct?
Keep your equals. Let's just see what happens if we try it the second way. Equals 4, and then in parentheses 3. I don't know what's going to happen. Let's see. Oh, same thing. It wants that asterisk for a multiplying. Okay, so let's accept it. There we have our 12 again. Okay, let's, how do you think we're going to divide in Excel? We know about this guy, right? But I don't see one of those on our pattern, on our screen. Let's have you guys figure it out. Let's do 22 divided by 4. See if you can figure it out and get an answer to that problem using Excel. Anyone come up with something? Figure out how to do it?
Use the slash.
It's the slash, yeah. Equals 22 divided by 4. And you use that slash mark. It's like a fraction because division is just fractions stated a different way, right? So let's enter. There we go, 5.5. Okay. I'm curious. Let's see what happens if we copy these 4 cells. So I'm going to right click and copy them. And now I'm going to just see what happens if I click in the next row over in B1. And I'm going to paste. Same thing. It moved all our problems over because we had numbers typed in. So we have the exact same work. So excellent, it copied the formulas. Whoops, I just did that by mistake. There we go. So it'll copy formulas for you, right? That's a helpful thing. All right, let's do a little bit more complex problem. Type in equals 3, and then type the little caret that's up on top of the 6. Caret 2. And then hit enter and see what happens. Okay, let's type in, gives us a 9. Let's type in equals 4 and then the little caret 2. Do one more. Equals 5, the little caret and the 2. What's this? What's going on? What's going on? If you don't remember exactly what you typed in, you can click back on the cell and look in the formula bar. So we typed in 3 caret 2 and we got 9. We typed in 4 caret 2 and we got 16. We typed in 5 caret 2 and we got 25. What's it doing?
Multiplying that first number, like 4 times 4.
Yeah,
Squaring it, yeah.
it's squaring it. This is our square function in Excel. And so whenever we square a number, and we're going to be doing this so much, that's how we do it. Okay. All we do is we type the number, we type that little square function. So this is the same as 3 squared equals 3 squared equals 3 times 3. All right. Now let's type in something like this. We have a little bit more time and I'll teach you to your assignment. Let's type your equal sign and write equals 3 plus 2 squared. Three plus 2 squared. And we got 7. So 2 squared is equal to 4 plus 3 equals 7. Is everyone still following? Let's try a little different. Let's put a parenthesis, so equals parenthesis. We're going to do the very same problem. 3 plus 2, put another parenthesis, and then squared. That's the formula. What are the difference? 3 plus 2 squared, and we got 7. 3 plus 2 squared, and we got 25. Why the difference?
It's a problem inside the parentheses, first to 5, we square to 5.
Order of operations. We first do what's in parentheses and then do our exponents. Okay? What if we have something like equals 3 plus 2 times 4. What do you think we're going to get? What's it going to do first? Eleven. What did it do? It took them in sequence. So first multiply, then add. If we wanted to do it the opposite, we go equals, and we have to put parentheses, 3 plus 2 times 4. Then we'll get first the addition, then the multiplication. Okay, so just some little tips there, just some reminders for you. Okay, we're going to use this a lot, and I'll show you a lot more, but this is the basics of what we're going to do. And there's one more thing, exercise I'm going to do with you before I show you how to approach your assignment for next class. You're going to submit this messy spreadsheet the way it is, okay? That's going to be your homework, your first assignment, but the next assignment is going to be, everyone's going to do on their own time. So get your PR3, and I'm going to ask you to generate a random group of numbers by doing this. Click. Let me pause first and ask if anyone has questions that they'd like clarified before we move on.
Do we turn in this spreadsheet when we're done with it, or when you're done showing
Yes.
it?
You're going to turn in a messy spreadsheet with whatever we get to in our class today. It's going to be messy, but it's got to have all these things that we did in there, even if it's messy. So that's why I'm recording all these for you. All right, go on to PR3 and generate random numbers by clicking in cell A1. And then select the cells all the way down to, oh, let's say about 20. All right. Actually, never mind. In cell A1, type equals, and then type this up, RAND, that stands for random, but then continue and go BETWEE, random between. Okay, and now let's say this is really messy and you think you might have messed it up. We actually would be typing random between and be telling it where we want it to generate numbers. So we might say between 1 and 10. So now I've got my formula and it randomly generated 1. Okay. Yours is going to be something different. But now let's say you forgot what this formula is. You can click on this FX and search. And I wanted to do something with random, so I'm going to just write random. I wanted it to generate numbers. And so then you can search, and it'll bring up the ways that you can randomize numbers. And it'll tell you how to do it. So random between, let's say this is what we want. We can click on OK. And we can put the bottom number we want, 1. The top number we want, 10. So it helps you if you don't remember your formula. And here it randomly generated 3, and it changed my first number to 9. It generated another number. So now click on cell A1 and copy it. Now put your cursor in A2 and drag it all the way down to the bottom. Just get a bunch of numbers generated and hit paste. Control V is what I just did. You should get a random bunch of numbers that don't look just like mine. And they should all be between 1 and 10. Okay? Every time you do something, it's going to change. So if you enter a number in any other cell, it'll change your random list of numbers. So I'd like you to choose these numbers by, again, copying, place your cursor in A1 and hold it down and select all of the cells that you just created. So they're gray. And then right click and copy. But now I want you to click in cell B1, right click, and remember these little menu list of items here. Just click on the one that says 1, 2, 3. What that does is it preserves your values instead of your formula. So when you click on values, you preserve these numbers. Okay? All right. Now, this is what we're going to do with this list of numbers. We're going to do some calculating using reference cells, and we're going to do all of this again. This is just basic background in Excel. Click in cell D2 and type your equal sign for a formula and write sum. So we're telling Excel, we want you to add up some numbers for us. And it's saying, what numbers should we add? In order to tell it what numbers to add, we use parentheses. So put an opening parenthesis. Now it's going to ask us, well, what number should we add up? I don't want to write all those numbers down. So I'm just going to select all those cells. I'm going to put my cursor in B1 while I'm still in my formula. I'm going to do this a second time for us, okay, when we're done. And then collect all those cells. Now they're highlighted, means they're copied. B1 through B21. Put your closing parenthesis and hit enter. So all of my randomly generated numbers added up to 108. I'm going to do that again because this is sometimes a little tricky when you're just starting. So we're going to start with our equal sign, and our goal, I'll write the goal in here, goal. We want to add up all of the numbers we randomly generated. You don't have to write this in column B. That's what our goal is. And the formula equals, that tells us we're going to do some math. Sum means we wanted to add numbers up. Opening parenthesis means we're going to tell it what numbers to add. Selecting this data tells us we want those numbers. Closing parenthesis says that's all we want. And enter. How did this work for you? Okay. Online people, did this work?
Yeah, but I got a weird sum.
You'll have a different sum than I will because these are randomly generated numbers. Your number couldn't be any bigger than 200. Well, it depends on how many cells you did. Let's do one more thing here. Oh, I want to show you what happens when we copy. This is really important. Let's select all the data in column B. And remember that little trick I showed you. You could just highlight cell B1, hold Control-Shift, and click your down arrow. It takes you right to the bottom of your data. Or you could just drag it down. Now I want you to right-click and copy. And now this isn't going to be any special copy. Click in cell C1 and just click paste. Oops, don't do anything special. Just hit Control V for paste. Okay. That wasn't what I intended to do, but that's pretty cool. It copied all our numbers. Now click on your formula in D2 and copy that. And let's paste it. paste it in F2. Give you 108. Let's place it, let's copy again and place it in H2. But look at how the formula changed. Here, it added up everything in column B. Here, it added up everything in column B. Do you see what it does here? It shows you what it's doing. When you click back in the formula bar, it shows you exactly what it added. So it added all these. But there's only there are 108. Here, it changed our formula. It's now adding up everything in column F. That's a little tricky, huh? Let's paste that formula one more time. Let's paste it into column I. Control C. Click in column I2 and Control V as in vacuum. Now it gives us a 0. Let's click in the formula bar and see what it's adding. It's adding up everything in column G, and there's nothing there. Does anyone pick up the pattern of what Excel is doing? What's it doing, Colin?
It's just adding up the columns based on, I don't know where the last cell was at.
Okay. Yeah, it's always going 2 columns over. So our first formula had it go over 2 columns and add. Our second formula, it still went back 2 columns and added. Our third formula, it still went over 2 columns and added. This is called reference. And when you copy a formula in Excel, you just need to be aware that that's what it's going to do. Over the course of the semester, I'll tell you how to solve that problem. But this is enough for now. If you're feeling really anxious about this, don't worry, you'll be using this a lot. This is just exposure. As long as you tried this stuff, you're going to get your good grades. You're going to get your full credit on this assignment. Okay? But now I want to show you what you're going to do independently, which is really not that hard. But I want to show you the database that I created for you to use for your next assignment. So what we're going to do is we're going to be gathering some data for this class. And I want all of you to gather the data. So you're going to be each finding 8 people. I think I asked you to do 8 people to take a little survey. It's just a 1-page survey. Let me show you what it is. I'm going to click on this link to open it. This is in my Dropbox, and this gives you access to it. And I've just opened up the printable version if you're someone who likes to print things. There's also a version that you can fill in like a digital form. Okay? And you're just going to be asking some really basic questions. You're not going to be writing down their name. On the top of each of these, you're going to write person 1, person 2, person 3. And never anywhere are you putting anything about their name. And these are pretty innocuous questions. So you're going to put their age in years, their sex, their height, their birth month, approximate number of Facebook friends. If they don't want to answer any of these, they don't have to, but you're going to go through how many miles from their home to a grocery store that has fresh vegetables, hours of sleep, hours of screen time, happiness, and so forth. The very last thing you're going to do is you're going to ask them to take this Think 5 personality inventory. And they're going to get scores for each of these things, and you're going to write their numbers in here. Okay? So that's the first thing you're going to do is you're going to ask your participants to take a survey. Then you're going to just take a look at how we're naming things here. So you're going to be looking at all of these variable names, and these correspond with the variables listed on the survey. I guess I closed my survey already. These are exactly in the same order as the questions on the survey. And these are the way you're gonna name your variables. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're gonna use a skill I taught you. And this third sheet is where you're gonna enter your data. So these variable names, I'm gonna test you on a skill here because I'm gonna ask you to copy these. Control C. And then I'm gonna ask you to go to your data. And this is in the instructions. It says, open the spreadsheet, your data, in column A, create a column, in row 1, paste the variables from worksheet 2, and that's what we're doing right now. So we're gonna right click, and we're gonna transpose, and then these variable names will be across. Next in the instructions, actually 3A says, open the spreadsheet, your data. In column A, list person 1, 2, 3 until you reach person 8. And you're gonna begin in cell A2, so let's do that. Beginning in cell A2, write person 1, person 2. Now I know I don't have to write them all out because I can just ask Excel to do this pattern all the way up to 8. Whoops, I need one more. Okay, and then you're gonna enter the data from your survey. And how are you gonna enter it? This tells you, these are your instructions. So for age, you want to enter age in years, just whole numbers. So if someone says they're 19 and a half, you're gonna round whatever you think, because if they're closer to 20, you put 20. You're gonna either write the word female or male or prefer not to say. The height is in inches, so don't enter feet, meters, centimeters, just inches. It tells you how to enter their birth month. A whole number for Facebook friends, that means they don't have any half friends. Miles, you can enter in terms of up to the nearest half mile. Sleep to the nearest half. So this tells you exactly what to write down, okay? At some point you're asked favorite food, you just write down their answer, whatever they say. Same for sport, favorite leisure. And then the scores on this big 5 are just gonna be whole numbers. I think it's between 0 and 100 if I remember right. Okay, what this is going to do for us is it gives us some data to play with in class. So then we can have real data to look at instead of just like fake problems that I give you, okay? But we're still, you're just taking people you know and you're not telling us anything about them, and nobody's going to know who gathered these data, and it's not very private data. So I think we'll be okay with doing this. And then we'll be able to use this during class. So I'm going to take everything that you give me and put it into a spreadsheet. And for our next week's homework, then we'll have a whole data set that we'll be able to use for some of our analyses. Okay? All right. So that is your main assignment. So 2 assignments, let me show you where they are. And this is all. The 2 assignments are to just a moment here. You go into our course again, go into assignments, go into orientation. This is due this coming Sunday at midnight. Okay. You know how the late policy is handled, which is, well, anyhow, we don't need to talk about that. Then you see all these orientation activities that you've probably done. You look at the orientation, the syllabus is here for you. If you know, you don't look at it. You just take that little survey, if you didn't do that yet, and then you come down to the last page, which is this Orient to Excel. And so I guess we have to kind of click through all of these. And here is you're just giving me some indication that you've done the survey, even though I'll be able to see it. And then here comes these 2 activities. So I'm going to put the video up for this in case you forgot anything. But what we did in class is your instructions for our first exercise, and you're just going to submit the spreadsheet, and all I'm going to do is look at it and see that you gave this a shot. You'll get your full credit, okay? If you tried. And then you're going to go to set B, and you're going to do this more substantive assignment by getting these data from 8 people and then following those instructions. And you'll see that the spreadsheet that I just showed you is linked. I'm going to erase what I just did in it, and you'll be doing that just to practice a little. Okay? All right. Any questions about what you need to do by Sunday? All right, terrific. I'm glad you were all here, and I hope you don't have any trouble with any of this. And as soon as these videos are converted, I'll post them up for you so you can review these instructions. Okay, all right, everyone. Nice to see you and have a good weekend. Hang around if you need to talk to me about anything.
So we can go over the video of class today?
Oh, yes. Yes, I think that's really important for you to be able to watch this again if you had questions. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
So for set A is the one we just did in the class right now.
Correct.
So that's the one that we can go ahead and.
You could submit it right now if you want to, and you'll be done. But make sure you name it like this. I didn't specify that. Name it, I think it says app 0 set A, and then your name. Okay? Yeah. And then do the same for the next set. That's how you'll just always name your assignments. You'll always give it the number, what it is, and then your name. I wrote that down, I think, for you in these instructions somewhere.
Thank you. Ako na.
Rufina, did that get any better for you?
Yeah, I'll just look at the video again.
Yeah, it'll be all right.
Okay.
Bye-bye. Shannon, I think all this will work mostly the same for you on a Mac. Just maybe some of those transpose functions and some of those little tricks might work differently, like the shift and alt keys, that sort of thing.
Okay, but I'll edit it right now, and then I'll go ahead and submit this one. But I think I heard you saying to label the homework as the app 0 set A and then name, right?
And then your name, yeah. Yep.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Cool. Beautiful, thank you. Now you need a lot of paper to draw the actual, right, to draw the reality.
So that chart that we did on the
Sorry, I'm just trying to stop recording for us while I'm listening to you.